I'm Colby, the Bitcoin miner plug, and today we are unraveling the mysterious explosion in hash power when Ocean Pool had a massive 300 exahash, which appeared to be deployed to the pool. We're going to put that into context and unravel what happened. It appeared that 30% of the entire Bitcoin network was deployed to a small mining pool, which is growing, called Ocean. I personally mine with Ocean at Enlighten Mining. So I'm excited to jump into this because I was having my cup of coffee and I almost spilled it on myself, freaking out about this huge explosion in hash power. So was 300 exahash actually deployed to Ocean Pool? And what really happened? Of course, I get my notifications on my phone from Ocean blocks every time they hit a block because unlike most PPS or pay per share pools that more or less pay miners a flat rate for their proof of work, for their hash power, Ocean has a different payout method, which I prefer personally, called tides. It's a more transparent way of compensating miners for their shares and for their hash power that they are participating in the pool. And so I got a notification on my phone and went over to Ocean, and I noticed this absolutely massive spike in the overall pool hash power, and I was in a state of disbelief because it was showing that Ocean had increased by over 25,000%. Shocking. And this little pool, clearly something was awry, something was going on, something major had occurreth. In that it's not usual that you'd see a pool 1x, 2x, let alone 25x the hash power. So immediately I started tweeting in a absolute unhinged rant that Ocean had exploded with over 2,500% increase in hash power. Here's my unhinged tweet that Ocean absolutely exploded. And mind you guys, this was during my first cup of coffee, so it had not set in and I didn't have all the data, and frankly, I didn't know what was going on here because I just literally couldn't believe it. So this is what it looked like. You couldn't even see the previous hash power, and then all of a sudden there's an absolutely massive spike. And I was curious to put that in perspective because obviously orders of magnitude, and it started to sink in that 300 exahash is actually about a third of the overall Bitcoin network, which is of course the most powerful computer network in terms of computational work and also in terms of energy consumption, because of course Bitcoin miners are using proof of work. Proof of results is another way to look at it. I like the concept of proof of results because it's not just the work, it's the correct hash that miners find, which unlocks the 3.125 new Bitcoin on average every 10 minutes, plus the fees that people are paying to use the Bitcoin network that are powered by us Bitcoin miners. So let's go on this journey. I thought first, wow, this must be a huge win for Ocean Pool because it's unbelievable. But then it started to sink in how much hash power 300 exahash would actually be. And the cool thing about Ocean is you can actually see the hash power on the pool, and it's very transparent in that who is contributing the work. Unlike most pools, the username is an actual Bitcoin wallet address that miners would be reusing to receive their payouts. So there was a new sheriff in town, there was a new number one largest miner, and that was that miner that appeared to be contributing a absolutely massive nation state level of 300 exahash. So that would be over 97% of Ocean's overall hash power. Again, they're relatively small pool. And previous to that explosion, the pool had been at about, let's see, I don't know, 10-ish exahash. So over a 25x increase, closer to 30x increase from 11-ish exahash, 10-ish, 11-ish, 12-ish exahash. And I was freaking out. And I was curious, is it rented? Is it possible to even rent that much hash power? I don't believe it is. There's no chance that you can rent 300 exahash because it's just so much hash. In any case, I was interested in finding out what the hell was going on, obviously. And other people were as well. Because during this, the miner had gotten paid as well. So we're all wondering, is this real? Could it be that a miner actually deployed that much hash power? So I said, okay, 300 exahash is about it's about 31% of the entire Bitcoin network that is now trending towards 1 zettahash, which would be 1,000 exahash. And an exahash is 1,000 petahash. And a petahash is 1,000 terahash. And to put that in perspective, a state-of-the-art miner like the S21XP is deploying 270 terahash. So it is a shit ton of hash power, to say the least. And so I'm tagging the folks, my good friends over there at Ocean, and I'm saying, what the hell was that, my dudes? And people are telling me to chill. And I had no chill. I had no chill at all. I had no chill. Shout out to Steve Barber over there at Upstream Data. And people rightfully telling me to chill out because I was freaking out thinking that if Ocean Pool actually had 300 exahash online, like Foundry, the largest pool, which is pretty much enterprise only, and KYC, US-based pool, that a lot of the public miners are mining too. And that's what's so cool about the Bitcoin network, is that it can be decentralized. So there are centralization issues, such as the largest pools, whether it's Ant Pool, whether it's Foundry. Some people are concerned about the centralization issues there. But what's so cool is that I can run a little at-home miner like this, and it is purely luck-based, where I could hit a block with this bad boy right here, hope I do, and I could keep all of the mined rewards, the new 3.125 Bitcoin plus fees, and I could keep it all for myself just based purely on luck. So pure computational proof of work, math, and luck. And one way to decentralize the network is to get some hash power online for yourself and participate to a pool that aligns well with your ideology, and you can participate in decentralizing the network. Come to find out, folks, that it was a glitch. Indeed, this miner did not deploy 300 exahash, but it was just a big, huge miner that effectively caused a glitch in the statistical model of Ocean. So they tweeted out that basically a huge miner deployed some hash power to the pool, which triggered a bug, which basically messed up their statistics. They said that payouts will be possibly delayed pending a full analysis, but no work was lost for miners like me who are sending shares to Ocean, and that the stats have been impacted and look, I think they're going to make it right because that miner did get paid out apparently. And long story short, a big miner deployed some hash power to Ocean and messed up their statistics. No work has been lost, and all Bitcoin rewards are safe, according to Ocean Mining. And the stats have now been fully restored, except for that new miner. So they're going to work out the statistics for that one miner, which you can see transparently on the pool right here. This is that big boy that broke the statistical model of Ocean. This is him right here. And what's cool is you can track this miner's work and you can see what's going on here. But basically that miner had deployed about 5 exahash, which is still an absolutely massive amount of hash power. That's like 50,000 S19J Pros at 100 terahash each, to use nice round numbers for you good folks of the internet. And right now he's offline, but was the largest miner on Ocean. As you can see here, you can see number 10 right now because he's offline. So the amount of shares that he's participating are decreasing, but it was previously the largest miner with over 5 exahash online. So that would put Ocean at, substantially more hash power. And shout out to Lysander on X pointing out that, look, you got to admit, this is a pretty bullish chart. If you look at Ocean's overall hash power, going parabolic as more plebs and enterprise miners are deploying it to Ocean. Why would people deploy hash power to Ocean? It could be a long list of reasons. Some people appreciate the greater transparency. Some people appreciate that you can build your own block templates using Datum. That's what I'm doing. And a lot of people like their tides payout method, which is luck-based, but it's also smoothened by an average amount of shares or hash power that a miner's participating. So one issue with PPLNS, which is a purely luck-based payout method, that's not very common anymore. Nowadays, PPS dominates Bitcoin mining for the most part. So if you're mining and then your miners go offline briefly due to curtailment, you still get paid when Ocean finds a block, even when your miners are offline, based on the window, which is quantifying your shares and the amount of hash power that you've participated to the pool. So I personally like that payout method best, because if my miners are offline due to a curtailment, which is quite common in Bitcoin mining as we work collaboratively with power providers in the grid, sometimes you go offline in order to cooperate with energy demand on the grid. Very common. But when that happens, I don't want to completely miss out on these payouts. And so I like tides because it's based more on a average of work that's participated over this window of time. So that's another reason why people might want to be mining with Ocean. But in any case, I am excited about the growth on Ocean. I jumped the gun a bit on this statistical bug where it appeared that a nation state or some absolutely massive behemoth deployed third of the Bitcoin network in terms of hash power to Ocean. That didn't happen. That was a false alarm. I just think it's literally impossible for that much hash power to come online undetected, because it would be shifting from other pools, like major pools like Foundry or Ant Pool, in order for that to happen. And you would see it's just impossible for the Bitcoin network to grow 30% overnight. No chance that much power could just come out of nowhere, really. And just speaking from the laws of thermodynamics, that's a huge amount of infrastructure and a huge amount of gigawatts of power, not just megawatts, gigawatts of power would be required for that to happen. I'm going to do a review of all the major pools over there at the Proof of Workshop and just discuss the major pools and their payout methods and why different miners would want to deploy their hash power to earn Bitcoin mining rewards. at one pool or another. But nonetheless, the hash power is increasing over at Ocean Pool, and I'm pretty stoked about that. So let me know if you think that Ocean is a cool way to mine Bitcoin, and let me know if you're interested in learning more about Bitcoin mining from the inside. I've started a community over at Skool, Skool. It's called the Proof of Workshop. So you can go to proofofworkshop.com, and that will send you over to the Skool, where currently we're offering a lifetime free membership to the community where you can learn about Bitcoin mining from the inside. There's some big hitters in that group that are full-time Bitcoin miners, and I'm excited to learn more about Bitcoin and Bitcoin mining with you from the inside.